Hello and welcome to Only Stupid Answers. My name is Sam Bashor.
And I'm DJ Wooldridge.
Today we're talking about Frozen 2. Big shout out to Disney. Thank you for inviting us to a screening. Got to go to the El Capitan.
Always a fun time.
I love the organist.
Yep.
That's very cool. They didn't do like a pre-show thing, but like they could have made it snow in there because I've seen them do it.
I've seen them do it. They have the technology.
They have the technology. But quickie synopsis. Anna, Elsa, Kristof, Olaf, and Sven leave Arendelle to travel to an ancient autumn-bound forest of an enchanted land. They set out to find the origin of Elsa's powers in order to save their kingdom. This is directed by the same directors as the first, Chris Buck, Jennifer Lee, and stars Kristen Bell, Idina Menzel, Jonathan Graff, Jason Ritter, Evan Rachel Wood, Sterling K. Brown, Alan Tudyk, Josh Gad, Rachel Matthews, and then more and more famous people. So many good actors in this movie.
And on Rotten Tomatoes right now, it has an 82%. And the critics' consensus is, even though Frozen 2 doesn't quite nail the show-stopping feel of the first film, it is still a dazzling adventure into the unknown.
Ooh, the name of the song.
It's almost like I see Elsa all the movie.
So you've seen Frozen, correct?
Yes.
All right. So I watched it after the theater.
Same.
I totally blew it.
I was hanging out with my family, and they're like, "Let's watch Frozen 2," and I'm like, "Sure."
And it wasn't on my radar, and of course it was making $1 billion. So
I think it's like the best selling animated anything ever of all time.
Amen.
Yeah.
So I loved it. I really enjoyed it, and Let It Go gives me whenever in a movie when they hit a certain Disney hits these notes, and some musical theater or some musicals hit these notes where it makes the hairs on my legs stand up, and I'm like, that's when I know, I'm like, oh, this is a good one, and so
this is a winner.
So that's when I'm like, I dug it, and the trailers for Frozen 2 were like, it weren't wowing me. There was one trailer where it was just Elsa trying to run out into the ocean and like freezing it, and it kept crashing. You see Water Horse, which is the name of a movie where someone finds a baby Loch Ness monster. But that's not what we're talking about.
That's not what we're talking about. It might also be a Disney film.
Jury's out. They might own it now. Don't know. That's all I saw. So that was intriguing enough. But overall, lukewarm. But I knew that Disney was going to at least give me an okay time in the theater. Were you excited for this movie?
No. I mean, like, I'm just not I was not blown away by the first Frozen. Shocker, I'm not exactly the target demographic for it. And yeah, like you said, the trailers were like, okay, more of the same. The one thing you're going to get stunning animation, and you really do. You really do, and you get very solid performances across the board, especially from our lead cast. And I got a special shout out to Kristen Bell, because I'm watching Good Place at the same time as this is going on, and just this year we got new Veronica Mars, and she's just so talented.
She's killing it.
Yeah.
Idina Menzel, of course. Yeah. As soon as she hits again those notes, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in love.
Yeah.
Like, this movie could just be mediocre. It's not. I will say I don't find it to be. But just because this was in it elevates it like 100%, a little bit.
Yeah.
A big pluses for me were the animation, the world building. I thought it was world building as in literally the like how it looked.
Yeah.
Like the art design of the world.
Beautiful.
I thought was wonderful. Yeah. Because of like the bad taste in everyone's mouth after the 20-minute short of Olaf
in front of Coco.
I thought my brain rewired, and I thought Olaf was kind of the funny kid character where he's just kind of like shouting and screaming and spitting and stuff. That's his whole joke.
Stuff kids love.
I loved it as a kid, and I guess I grew out of it. It's a bummer. But in this movie, it was a reminder that like, no, he's funny.
Yeah, Josh Gad's very talented.
Very talented. I really he has such a unique voice that it's like, it kind of sits like right back here in the haunches of the throat.
That's a good way to describe it.
And he has the vibrato that is so distinctly his voice that I love hearing. And his humor in this movie is true. It's smart, and I appreciate it. And but kind of getting into the story, it felt a little like we're kind of going down a river, and we're just kind of being taken for a leisurely ride.
Yeah.
It didn't feel as epic. It didn't feel as... The stakes kind of just felt like they weren't really there.
Well, I think a good comparison is you compare it to something like Toy Story 4, which I had kind of concerns that you were just kind of milking the franchise and there wasn't going to be a story there. But what they crafted was this really lovely reflection on... people's responsibility to each other, specifically like, what happens like if you're a parent and your kid grows up, do you need to find another kid, or do you kind of do your own thing, and kind of unpacking Woody dealing with Andy being gone. And it made itself vital. This is kind of like, hey, what could we do for Frozen 2? Here's a bunch of ideas. The end. Like
Yeah.
they don't really weave them together to make a statement about who these people are as characters, or about they fill out the world more. Especially the backstory is now more complicated.
The big question is how did she get her powers? And the answer is you get a little bit of an answer. You get a
little bit of
an answer.
If I had to explain to you it, I would have some trouble. But and so none of it's bad. None of those things are bad. The new threat they're dealing with, the new expansion on the world. Some of the tweaks to the backstory feel unnecessarily convoluted. So that's a kind of a thing. But none of it's bad. It's just none of it comes together in a way that this is why you needed to tell this story. Nothing convinces me that they just didn't do this because Frozen is the best-selling animated thing of all time ever.
And I don't disagree. I still found myself thoroughly enjoying the entirety of the movie, even though there are some points where it's like, oh, we're just kind of like doing stuff.
Yeah.
To elaborate would be spoiling the movie.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to, but I think the way we kind of explore the sisterly relationship in this movie is treading some of the same territory, but at the same time, it's so enjoyable seeing those characters together. I didn't dislike any of the scenes together. And some of the same lessons are kind of relearned, while at the same time, I think our characters do end up in a different place. That's the point of movies. And overall, I liked where the characters ended up. I liked the growth of some of the characters, and I think everyone gave a stellar performance. It just kind of felt like if you had just seen Frozen, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. And
also, if you haven't seen Frozen, there's a copious amount of scenes to remind you of what happened in Frozen.
And I did find all of them very funny.
Yeah.
And I appreciated them. I will say that, it is hard, just prefacing, it is hard to make Let It Go. It's hard to create a song that was that iconic and that it worked out that well.
Or even Can We Build a Snowman? Stuff that's become karaoke staples at this point.
Yeah, and they're amazing. In this movie, there is a song that is stuck with me, but it doesn't feel like the music has hit the same highs that movie had. And I think there are some songs that work really well in the scenes, but again, they're not going to really stick with me. There's a whole scene where in this movie, Olaf is really trying to figure out what his place in the world is. And also he's learning, he's changing. And there's a whole sequence where he's just like, you know what, if I was just a little bit older, this would probably not be scary. And it's a sweet song, but it's not going to really stick with me like Let It Go. But I feel like that almost feels unfair because Frozen is Frozen. Yeah. But you can call it Frozen 2.
It is Frozen.
I have my expectations.
Frozen 2. Yeah.
That being said, I don't think this is a bad movie in any way. I don't find myself wanting to rush out to go see it again in the theaters.
Yeah.
But I would watch this movie again.
Yeah, and it's interesting. For me, there was a point where there was unsurprisingly, there was a lot of kids in our screening.
Yeah.
And there's a point where they were getting very restless, and I was also getting restless with them. I was like, okay, let's get this going. You know what I mean?
It was a quiet scene where it's one of Kristen Bell's songs where she starts out quiet, and I was like, can't hear what you say.
Yeah. And I think it's just that's where it starts to settle in. That it's like, okay, this movie's not going to be any more than what it is. It's not going to cheat. And so I think if you're taking little ones, they might not be as enraptured as they were with the first Frozen.
And I found I think the exploration of Elsa's powers and what that means and different aspects of the world where we go in this movie, I found it really interesting. And
there's never once of her using her abilities or any of the magical elements that doesn't look incredible. Yeah, it looks beautiful.
It's so creative. They don't waste any time.
The use of colors and textures and the way everything's put together. I just kind of wish, I've heard other critics say it, and I think it's a fair point. I wish the kind of writing had risen up to the visuals of this movie. You know what I mean?
But do need to give a very special shout out to Sterling K. Brown because we saw him in Waves this year. This Is Us. You guys are familiar that he's a very, very talented man and an actor, and he has a role in this movie. And as soon as he spoke, I was like, well, favorite new character. He's right there. And I found his story very compelling.
Yeah.
What it meant for Arendelle. And I think Kristoff's story overall is the smallest scale-wise, but I appreciated everything that he brought to the screen.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it's a more enjoyable sequel than I found Wreck-It Ralph 2 to be. Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah.
For myself, just thinking about it, because the last 3D animated Disney movie that wasn't a sequel was Moana, and
Yeah.
I love
Moana's great.
I love Moana, and I as soon as Disney Plus came out, I watched it. Like
Yeah.
I watched it again because I love it so much. Then we got Wreck-It Ralph 2, which is not bad.
Yeah.
But I found if we're talking sequels that they've made
And
recently,
then before
I like
Moana,
Frozen 2.
before Moana was Zootopia, which is really good.
Yeah, they've had some solid ones, but I think I'm just spinning my wheels now. What would you rate this movie?
Zootopia. I would give this a B minus, so that would be like an 8. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, these are the American scoring systems. I'd give it a solid B. So I'd give it like an 8.5 because I it's hard to live up to a global phenomenon.
Mm-hmm. Just in general.
It is, but I think they did the best they could with the questions that they asked.
Yeah.
That is spoiler-free enough for you guys, then we're going to end it right there. Let us know what you think of this movie in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoy it. I will say, as soon as I walked out, I downloaded all the songs that I liked, and I've been listening to them nonstop. Elsa's big song that is in all the trailers, Into the Unknown, it was in the, I can say it because it was in the critic consensus. It's my new running song. It's
there you go.
Wonderful.
Yep.
And I hope you guys find enjoyment in this movie. If you're a super fan, let us know in the comments down below. But also if you're a fan of like Watchmen, The Mandalorian, other Disney Plus shows, Rick and Morty, maybe tune into Only Stupid Answers YouTube channel. We're doing weekly reviews and we're doing watch-alongs at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. So make sure as low as $5 a month, you can get audio reviews, you can get live streams, you can go check it out. Don't miss out. Follow me at Sam Bashor on Twitter.
At DJ Talks Trash for me.
And at Only Stupid Answers.
You got the vowels from stupid.
Bing, bang, boom. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.